first term, President-elect Donald Trump had urged his close associates to find ways to purchase Greenland. Greenland is a semi-autonomous Danish territory which is overseen by the government of Denmark. Now he's repeating his desire to purchase the island. President-elect Donald Trump's attention returned this week to an idea which has fascinated him for years: acquiring Greenland for the United States of America.
Well, we need Greenland for national security purposes. I've been told that for a long time, long before I even ran. I mean, people have been talking about it for a long time. You have approximately 45,000 people there. People really don't even know if Denmark has any legal right to it. But if they do, they should give it up because we need it for national security. That's for the free world. I'm talking about protecting the free world. You don't even need binoculars.
In a news conference Tuesday at his resort home, Mar-a-Lago in Florida, Trump refused to rule out using either military or economic force to retake the territory from Denmark. He said, and I quote, "We need Greenland for national security purposes." He argued that Denmark should give it up to protect the free world. He even threatened to impose tariffs on Denmark if it did not give up Greenland. Trump also took to social media to write that the American acquisition of Greenland is a deal that must happen. Incidentally, this was on the very same day that his eldest son, Donald Trump Jr., was visiting Greenland. Trump tweeted in all capital letters, "Make Greenland great again." After the news conference, Denmark sharply rebuked what Trump said, saying that the world's largest island is not up for sale. The Prime Minister of Greenland, News18G, rejected Trump's designs on his territory. He said, and I quote, "Greenland belongs to the people of Greenland. Our future and our fight for independence is our business, not America's." Greenland is a semi-autonomous territory that is known for its natural resources and its strategic location for new shipping routes that can open up as the Arctic ice starts to melt. A few weeks ago, Trump had reignited this conversation around Greenland through social media, asserting that ownership and control of Greenland is an absolute necessity. Addressing Trump's comments in an interview with a Danish broadcaster, Denmark's Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen said that she did not believe that the US will use either military or economic power to control Greenland. Frederiksen repeated that she welcomed the United States taking a greater interest in the Arctic region, but it will have to be done in a way that is respectful of Greenland's people. Denmark's king has also unveiled a new royal coat of arms which more prominently features Greenland. It was a subtle message to Mar-a-Lago. King Frederick X issued a declaration to change the royal coat of arms for the first time in over 50 years. The new design replaces the older one, the one that Frederick's mother, Queen Margaret II, had established back in 1972. And in this new design, it strengthens the prominence of Greenland in the royal coat of arms. The bottom left quadrant of the shield at the center of the coat of arms previously featured the three crowns, which represents the union of the Nordic countries, Sweden, Norway, and Denmark. It also had two parts of the Danish Commonwealth. One was a polar bear, which represents Greenland, and the other was a ram for the Faroe Islands. In the new coat of arms, the crowns, which represent the Nordic countries of Sweden, Denmark, and Norway, have been removed. Instead, the polar bear that represents Greenland and the ram that represents the Faroe Islands have been displayed much more prominently. Greenland's vast ice sheets and glaciers are quickly melting away even as the Earth warms up through climate change. The melting of ice could allow drilling of oil. It could also allow for mining of very important minerals like copper, lithium, nickel, and cobalt. These are rare earth mineral resources which are essential to making some of the most sophisticated modern-day electronic gadgets, whether it's mobile phones or electric cars. Because of higher temperatures, an estimated 11,000 square miles of Greenland's ice sheets and glaciers have already melted in the past 3 decades. In 2023, the Danish government published a report which detailed Greenland's potential as a rich deposit of valuable minerals. The Arctic island has favorable conditions for the formation of ore deposits, including many critical raw materials. The melting ice in the Arctic is also opening up a new strategic asset, which is shorter and more efficient shipping lanes. navigating through the Arctic Sea from Western Europe to Eastern Asia is about 40% shorter compared to going through the Suez Canal. Ship traffic in the Arctic has already surged 37% in the last decade, according to a report by the Arctic Council. China has shown significant interest in the new route, and in November, China and Russia agreed to work together to develop a new Arctic shipping route. Greenland is essentially the highway from the Arctic all the way to North America and eventually to the United States. It is strategically very important to the Arctic, which is going to be a critical battleground in the future because as climate change accelerates, as temperatures get warmer, the Arctic is going to be a pathway which will cut down the usage of both the Suez Canal and the Panama Canal. So that brings us to the Panama Canal, which is again a pet peeve of Donald Trump. He's now expressed a desire to reclaim control of the Panama Canal, citing unfair tolls imposed by the government of Panama. He also laments about increasing Chinese influence on the Panama Canal.
Look, the Panama Canal is vital to our country. It's being operated by China. China. And we gave the Panama Canal to Panama. We didn't give it to China. And they've abused it. They've abused that gift. It should have never been made, by the way.
He's also claimed that the canal is vital for U.S. national security and economic stability. He's hinted at using military force if necessary, although that's been met with very strong rejection from Panama. Officials there have asserted that the canal is under Panama's sovereignty and they deny any Chinese military presence in the canal. Trump's comments also reflect a broader strategy to counter perceived threats from China in critical global trading routes. But here's the thing, China does not control the Panama Canal. A Hong Kong-based corporation, CK Hutchison Holdings, operates 2 out of the canal's ports, which are located on the Caribbean and the Pacific. Now, they've been operating this since 1997, when the United States gave over control to Panama. The Panama Canal is a man-made water passage which is built in the Panama Isthmus. It links the Pacific Ocean to the Atlantic Ocean. Up to 15,000 ships traverse the canal every year. The waterway accounts for about 2.5% of all global sea trade and 40% of all container traffic that comes into and out of the United States. It is absolutely a lifeline for the US, both for import of goods from Asia and also for the US to use the waterway to export commodities. The canal was built between 1904 and 1914, mostly by the United States, with the then President Theodore Roosevelt overseeing the construction. The government of Panama, though, owns the canal.
Protocol 1 of the treaty.
And in December of 1999, the United States handed over the ownership of the canal to Panama under a 1977 treaty that was signed by then President Jimmy Carter. And now, Trump wants to challenge that.